There is a number of these modern day American evangelists that from the time that I was 3 years old, at 3 years old, my mother took me into this church, and I just got an instinct that these people in here were not for us, and I wanted to get my mother out, and I started to she had a hold of my hand, and I started to pull back, and then she whisked me into her arms, and I started to cry, and I wouldn't shut up, and finally, uh, this a deacon, I guess, or whoever there is there to seat you, comes over, and my mother says, "I think I'm going to have to take him home." And so thank God we got out of there. I felt a lot better real quick. But then later, I don't know, I was about, well, I'm going to just take a kind of a rough guess, 9 or 10, and I turned on the TV, and there was this Oral Roberts, and then this is almost a ritual that I went through on Sunday mornings back home, because all my friends were they were either went to church or it was family day and they had to stay home, and so I was I was all my older brothers had left already. I didn't have anybody to play with. My sister was 8 years older, and so on Sundays, I'd turn on TV hoping to watch Underdog, or the cartoons, but I especially liked Underdog. And but I was at that age you're not smart enough to notice the time, and then so I would just get up and flip through flip through the channels until Underdog come on, or I'd do that for a while hoping to find Underdog, and then sometimes I would go outside and play. But anyways, regularly I would encounter this Oral Roberts or Rex Humbard and a few other preachers that I don't remember now. I don't remember their names, and I just had a real sense that yeah, they were up to something. And but this guy here, this guy here is a kind of what would you say, the poster child? Well, maybe he's not the poster child. That would probably go to Peter Popoff, and Benny Hinn would be a close second. But he's right up there with the crooks for Christ. And so I just clicked on this video. Hell is no joke, because one of the things that has really eroded at the gospel is this idea that God created every human being such that He couldn't uncreate them, right? And that would be actually, if you think about it, if He had to do it that way, if He was compelled to create human beings such that they couldn't be put out of their misery, that would be the greatest blunder in engineering history ever. That would be on a magnitude beyond anything that's even describable. And but if he has to do it because of some deep-seated emotional need to make people that don't like him suffer endlessly, well, then that would be the ultimate in pettiness and vindictiveness. And so I'm not going to rehash this argument, this scriptural debate as to whether or not we have something called an immortal soul. The Bible says that God only has immortality, and then in the book of Revelation, man is once again given access to the tree of life. Well, if he was an immortal soul, why would he be eating from the tree of life? Why would he need the tree of life, right? And and if he's been up in heaven for 1,000 years, of what use would he want his old body back? So, but Yeah, I can't really add anything new except this. Except this. Uh, the best scholars that I have listened to claim that this idea that we have this eternal soul within us, you can trace it back to Nimrod and his family of Semiramis. And so the idea is that Semiramis fell in love with some other guy and had Nimrod killed. And so because she was pregnant, she got pregnant with this lover, and so it was going to become like obviously Nimrod's going to know, right? And so she had Nimrod killed, and then to explain the pregnancy, she said that he actually went up and joined with the sun, and then he came back and impregnated her, or he impregnated her with the rays from the sun. So that's where this idea came from, that we live for forever, where we have this spirit in us that can't die. And that idea, there's a few places where Jesus, some of his teachings seem to suggest that maybe he's believing this, but and that's another whole presentation. That's a 2-hour presentation as to why Jesus used every pagan word for the fate of the lost. Right? He used Hades, Tartarus, Gehenna. What's another one? Hell. Well, I don't know if he actually used the word hell. That was put in there by the translators. But anyways, I can add this. I can add this little thought to the argument. And that's all that I'm going to do right now. Is that who do you think would want to burn you for forever? Ask yourself, who is more likely to want to burn me for forever? Jesus? Or somebody like Nimrod or the devil? Right? That's a good question, don't you think? Who would want to burn you for forever for not cooperating with them? Jesus or the devil or the followers of Nimrod? Just a good question for you to think about. Of course, the answer is Nimrod. But anyways, like this guy, he is so slick. Like he's a talking head, and you listen to him speaking, it sounds like he's really done his homework, and he sounds like he's very comfortable with his subject. There's no pausing. He's not stopping to think a little bit. It's just right there, and it's slick, and it's clear, and it's even authoritative, right? He speaks with some authority, but he doesn't line up with the Bible. So anyways, I happen to know that he was caught twice with prostitutes, and this became public knowledge. And so if you've been caught twice, what are the odds that you got away with it a few times too, right? What are the odds that maybe it's been an ongoing practice even to take the money that people send to do God's work, and to take that money and go out and rent a whore, right? And so, but anyways, I googled his income, and so this is what I found. See if and this is from the Los Angeles Times. So he makes $150 million a year. And then down here it talks about he was raising money to feed starving children, and he raised several $1 million. And according to this, he did send a couple million over there. But you know what? If you're raising money to feed starving children, and say you raise 10 million, and you only sent 2 million to the starving children, you're really robbing from people that are starving to death, to the tune of $8 million. But you're also robbing those that give because they want to help starving children. They want to feed starving children. And can you get any lower than that? I suppose you could, but I mean that's getting pretty close to the very bottom, isn't it? And so yeah, I just wanted to. I can't find it right now, but it's on this page here of you know the originals. If you go back and you read, I think it's in the Acts somewhere where it says that everybody sold, all those that were joining the church sold everything that they had. And I'm assuming that doesn't mean that they sold pictures of their mother or some little trinket their grandmother gave them, but anything of value, right? So and they came and they laid it at the feet of the apostles. I mean, there's such a thing as giving, and then there's giving with passion. And so when you lay something at the feet of someone, like you're giving it because you want to, because you're happy to give. And everyone, all of them, to a man, sold all that they had and they pooled the resources. But the church also, in return, it became like a brotherhood, right? They didn't just the apostles didn't just take the money and leave, right? And we know that Paul traveled great distances and was often in financial difficulties, and so he wasn't receiving, copious amounts from this money. And actually, there's quite a bit more to be said about what the apostles did with the money, but they didn't build for themselves $1 million mansions. It went to, and they did have some serious programs to help the less fortunate brothers. They absolutely did, and so that's nothing like what Swaggart is doing today. Anyways, that's all for now. Thanks.